Well, Kirby Smart was asked about Todd Monken earlier this week, and it was something I wanted to get into because Todd Monken's influence on Georgia over the last year and a little bit has been pretty significant. When you start talking about the national championship, the development of Stetson Bennett, you can see with Carson Beck, Brock Vandegrift, as well as Gunnar Stockton, and the possibility of Arch Manning, that the recruiting has been a big deal for him. Todd Monken's had a really big influence on Kirby Smart's program, and obviously on the field, he's done a hell of a job scoring points for the Dogs. Before I talk about that, you're running out of time to get this edition of the specialized version of the Stetson Bennett signed DAWGSTRUCTION. Y'all, if you've not picked up DAWGSTRUCTION, I'm just telling you, you're making a mistake. Um, it's a wonderful book, and this particular one I'm giving away. You have to buy one to be entered into that, but it's signed by Stetson Bennett late in the book, and it's of Stetson on the I was about to say on the tarmac, but up elevated. This is the page that he signs. Um, and would we have had that moment without Todd Monken? You know, it's a good question. It's a good question. I'm not sure that you do. I mean, uh, there's so different ways to put it. But when you look at uh, Todd Monken's time at Georgia, I mean, the Dogs have been uh, a defensive juggernaut the entire time. I mean, there's no doubt about that. That's always been there. But it even took Georgia a little bit of time under Todd Monken to get going in terms of the offense when he got there. In his entire time at Georgia, the Dogs have only lost 3 games. I mean, that's not exactly a lot. Obviously, this past season they scored a ton of points, but in 2020 it took a second or two. Remember that Georgia, its first 3 games, scored 37, 27, and 44 points. That was with Stetson Bennett, a walk-on person who they told would never play at the school, as the quarterback. And from that point forward, the next 2 games, things really got tougher. Okay, they only scored 3 touchdowns against Florida in a 44-28 loss. One of those scores in the 28 points was a pick six. Against Kentucky, they only managed 14 points. Against Alabama, they only managed 24. They virtually didn't score in the second half. I mean, they may not have. But from that moment forward, Georgia's only scored under 30 points twice, if I'm not mistaken. And that was the championship, the Peach Bowl win over Cincinnati, the win against Clemson, and excuse me, 3 times, and the loss to Alabama at the Dome. Um, this is a team that scored 56, 40, 62, 37, 34, 30, 34, 43, 41, 56, 45, 24, 34, 33. I mean, if a good coordinator gets you past 30, a really good one gets you past 40. And Georgia was knocking on the door of scoring 40 points a lot this past season. In fact, they did it this many times: 56, 40, 62, 43, 41, 56, 45. That's a lot. That's half the games. Now I'm just going off of, my brain there. But the what you see with Todd Monken's offense um, is that it it's it works. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Here's what Kirby had to say about Todd Monken earlier this spring. He said, "I think a big part of the offense is having an identity, believing in who you are. Don't try and force your players into that, being strong where you are strong and improving your weaknesses." Um, but Todd Monken knows what he wants to do. He knows package plays that work to get well together. That is totally true. Be who you are. If your strength is at wideout, if your strength is offensive line, if your strength is at tight end, if your strength is at running back, if your strength is at quarterback, then use it. I think he has done a good job of bringing consistency in those areas and accountability to that side of the ball. What's been the worst offensive position for Georgia? I'm asking. I mean, like, which position has been not? I mean, which position is the worst? Maybe not bad, but which has been the worst? Quarterback? Um, has it been running back? Has it been the receivers? It's not the offensive line. It's certainly not the tight ends. So it's one of those groups, right? I mean, Zamir and James Cook, or has it been what Stetson did last year? Okay, or was it the receivers? You know, you were without George Pickens and Don Blaylock during the entire 2021 season. They've functioned. They've not just functioned, they've been scary at times. I mean, think about how quick they score sometimes. I mean, keep in mind that this Georgia program wants to beat you up and grind you down. They like that. That's like that's something they like to do. And yet they can score in so many different ways. Think about Brock Bowers. This play right here was a tight end screen that he took 40, what was it, 60 something yards in a 45-0 win over Georgia Tech. Obviously, plunging into the end zone with your 340-pound defensive lineman doesn't necessarily take a lot of offensive skill. It's just turn around and hand it off, right? But in DAWGSTRUCTION is one of the things we talk about. This is the play with James Cook just before the half at Tennessee. It's a play that I focus on, and it was a wonderful play that Todd Monken and company did. Would that have been the right play had JT Daniels been the quarterback? I don't know. I don't know. But it was the Stetson Bennett. It was Stetson's play during this time and his ability to function under uh, Todd Monken's offense that really gave Georgia an extra zip this year. If you have quarterback run game, it really makes it hard for the other team. I mean, it just does. And I believe he had Brandon Whedon at Oklahoma State, and people say, "Well, he ran enough." I can tell you that right now, he ran enough. Plays from Bennett and Cook were too much for the Vols to survive. Cook's 15-yard dash midway through the second quarter set up Bennett's spectacular 9-yard run to put Georgia up 17-10. Do y'all remember that run where that Stetson had? On the final possession of the half, Cook jump started a 90-yard drive with three chunk runs to get Georgia to its 30-yard line, and then Bennett hit A.D. Mitchell, what else is new, on 4 completions in a row to put the Dogs within striking range of the Tennessee side of Rocky Top. That's when Bennett found Cook on a 23-yard pass to give Georgia a 24-10 lead with only 37 seconds before halftime. He used James Cook in a way that James Cook should be used. Cook's production, 147 yards on 3 touchdowns, with 3 touchdowns on 13 touches, was the type of performance that he could get the Dogs any Saturday. Georgia finished the SEC schedule undefeated for the first time in 1982. He got James Cook on that linebacker on the outside. That's what Todd Monken has given Georgia the ability to do, albeit red zone this Friday and Saturday. I want to see you there. Well, not this Friday and Saturday, the Friday and Saturday of G Day. We'll see you there.